Today is a WRAL weather alert day. Concerns for flash flooding and the potential for severe storms. I have a new map to show you the flood risk. I'll show you who's now under the high risk for flooding coming up.
It's round two on the way. More weather worries for some people recently devastated by Chantal.
Officer resigns. The accusation that prompted a Raleigh police officer to turn in his badge.
It is another WRAL weather alert day due to the threat for severe storms and that flash flooding. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. We have team coverage of the post-Chantal cleanup ahead of this next round of severe weather. We begin with meteorologist Amy Wilmeth with new information about who is likely to see this flood potential. Amy, it now includes a triangle.
That is right, at least part of the triangle. And this is brand new information. It just came down from the Weather Prediction Center. So the area shaded in red, that's the high risk for flooding. Previously, it included Person County and some of our northern communities. Well, they've now moved that south a little bit. It includes Orange County. It includes part of Durham County, including the city of Durham, and it includes part of Chatham County as well. Alamance County now in the high risk for flooding as well. There's concern for the timing of this because a lot of this is going to happen while many of you are sleeping. The highest rain chances are 10 o'clock tonight until 3 o'clock in the morning. So very high rain and storm chances tonight with the potential for flash flooding and severe storms. Please be sure to have a way to get warnings while you're sleeping overnight tonight. One of the things you can do is download the free WRAL weather app. Just go into the settings, turn the alerts on so that you get those alerts while you're sleeping. Right now in our area, the radar is pretty quiet, but I'm watching two spots. I'm watching the mountains. That's where most of the storms are going to come from that impact our area late tonight. But I'm also watching a little bit of a sea breeze front that could impact some of our eastern counties as we head into the next couple of hours as well. The flood watch continues for the counties that you see shaded in green. There is no change to that as of yet. The severe risk map remains the same with most of the triangle in that level 2 risk. There's the threat for strong damaging winds that could take down some trees just because we've had so much rain as of late. I'll show you this hour by hour with Futurecast. Plus, we have another alert day tomorrow. I'll have those details coming up.
Amy, thank you. Some water levels are receding in parts of our viewing area as another round of storms takes aim. Right now, Hillsborough is under a boil water advisory. Cleanup along the Eno River will be delayed due to this new round of potentially severe weather. WRAL's Destiny Patterson is live in Orange County with a look at the progress there. Destiny.
Very, very active community here as they continue their cleanup efforts. I want you to take a look. There is a lot of debris outside of these homes, really people's items that they are now having to trash and throw away. And if you look this way, you can see some of the residents who live here as well as some of the cleanup crews hard at work. Now here in Carrboro, they have a flood watch starting at 2 this afternoon and it goes until 2 a.m. tomorrow. And again, we have saturated soils that increase the possibility of flash flooding and falling trees. Orange County first responders have told us that they have rescued more than 60 people from homes and businesses. I talked to a UNC doctor who used to do those swift water rescues himself, and he says that even areas that aren't typically impacted by rain, they could still see impacts from this next round of rain that is coming into our area. And he describes floodwaters as unforgiving.
What we're looking to do is really get people out of the threat area, right? These teams are looking to remove people out of threat areas, get them to higher ground, get them to safe spaces where they can safely be assessed.
Now, a new report also shows that people aren't getting news alerts. Many of them have turned them off entirely. So it's going to be really important that you have our new WRAL weather app as well as our news app so that you can get your alerts. This is the best way to get them. But just in case your phone dies or you lose service, you might not have seen one of these in a long time or even know what this is. This is a weather radio. This is another way to get those alerts, especially because we know that this next round of storms is coming in overnight. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, live in Orange County.
Yeah, the timing of that's so crucial. This morning, search crews recovered the body of a second missing boater from Jordan Lake. 2 men were last seen launching their canoe Sunday evening in Chatham County. The body of one of the boaters was located yesterday. Their names have not been released. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains how water levels made that search so difficult.
We're just outside of the boat ramp here at Jordan Lake. The Army Corps of Engineers has plans to release water from the lake later today. Jordan Lake continued to rise even 2 days after Chantal dumped several inches of rain. But the water isn't the problem. This washed up debris is. Chief Deputy Steve Maynor says this is the most debris he's ever seen here. But that's proof that Jordan Lake and its dam are doing its job. They're designed to keep water from moving downstream. Chief Deputy Maynor says for now, people should avoid the shore areas that are not maintained by state parks.
Those are dangerous. They have steep drop-off points. There's obstacles under the water, and right now you're swimming above trees if you're in those shorelines. We urge you, if you're going to be in the water, wear your life jacket. You can't see the bottom, you need to be in a life jacket.
Now it's time to do a controlled release of all of that water, and that's supposed to be tens of millions of gallons of water per hour. So we'll be sure to keep you updated on that process. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News at Jordan Lake.
We do want to see the photos and videos of severe weather near you. If it is safe, snap a picture, take a vertical video and send it to us. You can go to WRAL.com/report it, and we may use it on TV or on our digital platforms.
A Raleigh police sergeant has resigned after facing charges of assaulting an individual with a disability. Sergeant Wesley Lane is accused of making threats with a knife at a Harnett County restaurant. WRAL's Sean Gallagher is there now. Sean.
Yeah, Dunn police tell us that Sergeant Lane was at this restaurant here in Dunn on West Cumberland, the Western Sizzlin', where they say he allegedly went to a table, picked up a knife, and threatened a man. Now, this happened 2 weeks ago. Sergeant Lane told police that the man there had touched his daughter, but Dunn police say they did a thorough review of the surveillance footage here and could not find any evidence of this. According to court records, the man has autism, an intellectual learning disability, and is epileptic. Lane allegedly held the knife towards the man and said he would cut his throat. Now, Lane resigned from RPD on Monday after 15 years of service. RPD had opened an internal investigation about this once they learned of his arrest, but it's unclear if that investigation will continue going forward now that he's no longer connected to the department. In Dunn, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Breaking news, the CDC says the number of measles cases in the U.S. reached its highest number in more than 30 years. The CDC said 92% of cases are among people who are unvaccinated or whose vaccination status is unknown. So far, there are 1,288 confirmed measles cases across 38 states, including North Carolina. The previous high occurred in 2019. That's when the U.S. had 1,274 cases.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, the former White House physician who treated former President Joe Biden is on Capitol Hill today. Dr. Kevin O'Connor is appearing for a deposition before the House Oversight Committee, which is investigating Biden's alleged cognitive decline while in office. This afternoon, we are learning that Dr. O'Connor is not answering any questions. He invoked his doctor-client privilege and his rights under the Fifth Amendment. But former President Biden has been insistent that he was the one making the decisions while he was in office. His former aides have also consistently rejected any claims that anyone other than the president was in charge.
2 people are hurt after a shooting near an apartment complex in Raleigh. It happened near Skycrest Drive. One person attempted to take himself to the hospital but was stopped on Capitol Boulevard. A second person who was injured arrived at Wake Med around 2 a.m. Both injuries are expected to recover from. A suspect is not in custody. Police are investigating a 2-vehicle collision that happened around 6 this morning at the intersection of Raleigh Boulevard and MLK Boulevard. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker was there on scene, reporting about a power outage that had knocked out power for 400 customers. It's unclear if the traffic lights were restored at the time of that crash. No one was injured, and there's no word on charges at this time.
The Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina is getting some help to make sure kids are not going hungry this summer. The nonprofit will get a share of a $243,000 grant from No Kid Hungry North Carolina. This is especially helpful for children in rural communities who depend on school meals. Many of those children do not have access to meals during summer months. This summer meals program is available to children 18 and under. For more information about summer meal sites, check out nokidhungry.org. Next at noon, deadline day for global trade deals got pushed back while President Trump lashes out at Vladimir Putin. What the White House is focused on now.
Also, click to cancel why a court ruling means customers will have to pay close attention to those subscriptions.
Plus, Governor Josh Stein signed 3 bills into law today. Who's affected most?
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
Today was supposed to be the deadline for countries to strike a trade deal with the U.S. Now President Trump has set a new deadline of August 1st, saying that'll be the last opportunity for those countries to avoid potentially massive tariffs.
The president is also flashing anger at Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying he will resume weapons shipments to Ukraine that were paused last week. NBC's Garrett Hake reports from the White House.
Overnight, Russia launching a fierce attack against Ukraine, firing a record number of drones into the country, Ukraine says. Just hours after President Trump flashed frustration at Russian President Vladimir Putin for defying calls to end the war during a cabinet meeting Tuesday.
We get a lot of bull thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth. He's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
The president, who as a candidate repeatedly said he'd end the war there on day one of his presidency, now says he's reviewing a bipartisan sanctions package against Russia. And asked about the Pentagon's pause of weapons shipments to Ukraine last week.
Did you approve of that pause?
We wanted to put defensive weapons, so we're sending some defensive weapons to Ukraine, and I've approved that.
So who ordered the pause last week?
I don't know. What did you tell me?
NBC News has reported that suspending the weapons shipment was a unilateral step by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, according to congressional sources and a U.S. official. The sources say Hegseth has ordered pauses twice before. In both cases, his actions reversed days later. And President Trump making another foreign policy move overnight, once again ramping up his global trade war, announcing he'll send letters to at least 7 countries today, on top of 14 filed Monday, that set new tariff rates for each nation if they don't negotiate new trade deals with the U.S. this month.
Mostly it's just a little number in there. You'll pay 25%, 35%. We have some at 60, 70.
The president abandoning the 90 deals and 90 days goal set by the White House when his so-called reciprocal tariffs were first unveiled, then paused back in April, in favor of unilaterally deciding import tax rates and posting them in letters.
We can't meet with 200 countries. You have to do it in a more general way, but it's a very good way. It's a better way. It's a more powerful way.
And that was Garrett Hake reporting. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky met with Pope Leo today south of Rome to discuss the war with Russia and the need for lasting peace. Zelensky thanked the Pope for the Vatican's efforts to help return children taken by Russia. Both also suggested the Vatican could host peace talks to end the war, but Putin has not accepted the offer.
And back here in the WRAL Live Center, we are learning today that ex-CEO Linda Yaccarino is stepping down after 2 years of running Elon Musk's platform, his social media platform. She posted this to X, saying, "After 2 years, I've decided to step down as CEO of X. I'm immensely grateful to Musk. The best is yet to come as X enters a new chapter." Musk hired Yaccarino after buying Twitter for $44 billion in late 2022. He said at that time that Yaccarino's role would be focused mainly on running the company's business operations.
The town of Hillsborough is under a boil water advisory after flooding affected the town's water system. Parks in the area are also expected to remain closed for several days because of flooding. WRAL's Laura Levine has an update on the recovery efforts underway.
The flood concerns here in Orange County will likely impact the cleanup and recovery process here at the Eno Arts Mill. Outside of the building, you can see boxes of items that had to be tossed, things that could not be salvaged from the devastating flooding that we saw here in this community. There's 2 dumpsters here, one that is piling up with items that they could not salvage. This is a home, a creative, safe space to dozens of artists and teens, which lost nearly everything from the floods, and many of the artists lost decades of work. The space needs a full demo and restoration, but for now, volunteers and neighbors are helping with the cleanup. The record-breaking crest of the Eno River also flowed into the Expedition School, which is a public charter school on the property. Everything from textbooks, furniture to technology was damaged weeks away from the start of the school year here. Katie Murray is the director of the Orange County Arts Commission, and she says that the setback is devastating.
That is the greatest loss right now, is that this community that we have built that is the home for so many people is no longer.
And the Eno Arts Mill does not have a timeline of reopening. Although the Eno is below flood levels, Orange County does have that flood risk today beginning at 2 p.m. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Hillsborough.
So here we go again, another round of severe storms on areas already saturated with rain, and the timing of these storms very concerning since a lot of people will be sleeping at this time.
That's right. A lot of this, if not all of it, is going to come after sunset, after midnight tonight in some cases. So we urge everyone to have a way to get warnings while you're sleeping. We want you to stay safe overnight tonight in case flash flooding occurs in your community. We still have the flood watch for the areas that saw so much rain on Sunday. It's not going to take much to cause flash flooding there again. We also have a level 2 severe threat in that same location. The thinking is that damaging winds could move through and easily knock down some of these trees because the ground is so saturated. So 2 threats here, damaging winds and the threat for flash flooding. Right now in our immediate viewing area, things are quiet on the radar. I'm watching storms to the west. These are the ones that are going to impact us late tonight. And then we have a little bit of a sea breeze front that could impact some of our eastern communities in the next couple of hours. Wayne County, parts of Sampson County, perhaps. We'll keep an eye on both of those. Zooming out a little bit, not a whole lot happening in the mountains just yet, but this is what we'll be watching in the next several hours. And all of this is going to move in our direction, likely after the evening commute. So here's 3 o'clock this afternoon. Things are still very quiet, maybe a spotty shower or two, and that would be it. 10 o'clock tonight. So after sunset, after the evening commute, that's when I think things will really start to pick up on the radar. Numerous showers and storms. This is going to continue after midnight. This is 1 a.m. So the triangle getting some heavy rain at that point, numerous spots getting heavy rain. 5 a.m. in the morning, we have storms, the heaviest in our southern part of our viewing area. And then for the morning commute tomorrow, I still think we could have some spots that are dealing with flooding, maybe some road closures. We will have team coverage on that in the morning, and we're going to keep the Weather Center staffed overnight tonight as well. And then tomorrow, late in the day, we'll have another round of showers and storms. This is 5:30 tomorrow evening, so it's likely going to arrive after the evening commute again. So another round tomorrow. I know it's very exhausting to have all of these days with rain. This is a look at the 7-day rainfall total. I want to highlight this region here. This is the area that we are most concerned for flash flooding because it's just not going to take a whole lot of rain to happen for flash flooding to happen in this location. And this is going to happen overnight tonight. That's why the flood watch is in effect until 2 o'clock this morning. Wouldn't be surprised to see that extended. So a high risk for flooding today has now been extended to part of the triangle, including a good part of Durham and Chapel Hill as well. Thursday, most of us in a medium risk for flooding, and then Friday, it's a low-end threat for flooding. Severe threat, we also have to talk about that. Damaging winds is the biggest concern. There's really a very low chance for tornadoes and hail, but it's a level 2 risk for today for our western counties, a level 2 risk for most of us as we head into tomorrow, and then a level 1 risk on Friday. So this is really going to continue for the rest of the week. Sun shining in Benton right now, very warm. Temperatures are in the upper 80s, heat index 100, very hot and steamy out there. We have weather alert days today and tomorrow. Flooding, damaging winds possible. And look at that, it stays active as we head into the weekend and even into next week, unfortunately.
Amy, thank you. With the risk of flooding in the same areas that got hit hard by flooding on Sunday, we have coverage tonight with the largest team in the Triangle. You can count on WRAL to keep you ahead of the storms and until the threats move out.
Plus, grace period. Driving around North Carolina with an expired driver's license is now okay. But what happens when you cross state lines? Coming up tonight on WRAL News at 4, the drawbacks to a new law and what it means for the DMV's operating budget. And still ahead this noon, click to cancel why a court ruling means customers will have to pay close attention to those subscriptions.
Lessons in AI. A new partnership could result in a positive boost in teaching and learning. Higher tariffs were expected to kick in this week on countries that did not make a new trade deal with the U.S. That deadline just got pushed back a bit, but it got 5 on your side thinking about how you should approach spending with ongoing tariff uncertainty. Dan Haggerty talked with a smart shopping expert.
In April, the Trump administration put tariffs as high as 49% on key U.S. trading partners. Those tariffs were quickly then paused for 90 days, meaning they were scheduled to go back into effect around today. But they didn't. The administration is now saying tariffs will go into effect on August 1st. Frankly, it's hard for families to plan their budget when there's this looming threat of prices jumping significantly. So we asked Trey Bodge what your approach should be.
Really focus on those bigger ticket items that are imported and think about buying them now, but this is not the time to panic. And if it's not in the budget, then just wait.
Bodge also mentioned some habits that you can get into to save on everyday purchases. Things like joining all the available free loyalty programs out there. You know, the ones like grocery store fuel points, that sort of thing. Also, make sure that you're taking advantage of the memberships and discounts you're already paying for, and evaluate your credit card rewards. Are you getting enough benefit, or does another card actually offer rewards that better fit your spending habits? Dan Haggerty, 5 on your side.
A federal appeals court struck down a new rule that would have made it easier for people to cancel subscriptions. The click-to-cancel rule would have stopped businesses from forcing customers through lengthy chat sessions with agents or creating other barriers to cancellation. The appeals court says the agency did not conduct a preliminary analysis and did not follow the required procedures. The click-to-cancel rule was set to take effect next week.
Gmail has a new tool to help you declutter your inbox, the Manage Subscriptions feature. It's rolling out on the web and on Android and iOS devices. Users can view and manage their subscription emails in one place and quickly unsubscribe for those they no longer want to receive. Active subscriptions are organized by the most frequent senders. Gmail will send an unsubscribe request to the sender on your behalf. Elon Musk's AI chatbot Grok is pushing anti-Semitic tropes in its responses to some users. That account stirred controversy with offensive comments posted online about the victims of the recent Texas floods. The people behind the Grok account say they are actively working to remove the inappropriate post. Musk has said he plans to rebuild the chatbot because he considered some of its replies too politically correct.
Deadly flooding, the latest town impacted by swift rising water.
And Die Hard, why an American chocolate company is rejecting calls to remove dye from its products. And here are your winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen. We'll be right back.
Today is a WRAL weather alert day due to the threat for severe storms and flash flooding.
Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth is here to let us know when the storms will likely arrive and why the timing is a bit of a concern and who it now includes.
Yeah, it's going to be mainly late tonight and overnight tonight while people are sleeping, and that's why we're urging everyone to have some way. I really don't care how you get warnings, but have some way to get warnings. One option is our free WRAL weather app. Go into the settings, turn on the alerts, and you'll get those warnings sent to you just in case there's a flash flood warning in your area or a severe thunderstorm warning overnight tonight. Now, this is new. Right around noon is when the Weather Prediction Center extended this a little bit to the south. So the high risk for flooding previously was in the extreme northern and northwestern part of our viewing area. Well, now it includes Chapel Hill. It barely clips Durham. It includes part of Chatham County as well. So we do have that risk for flash flooding, and a lot of this will happen late tonight and overnight tonight. Our highest storm chances are from 10 p.m. until 3 a.m. So an overnight system with heavy rain and the potential for flooding. We're going to be staffed here overnight tonight in the Weather Center, keeping everybody posted. Right now, things are fairly quiet on radar locally. We have a couple of things to watch. This is the band in the mountains that's going to impact us overnight tonight. And then we also have a little sea breeze front that could impact our eastern communities in the next couple of hours or so. I'll talk more about the timeline for storms tomorrow. It's another weather alert day tomorrow. We'll take an hour by hour look at that coming up.
All right, Amy, thanks for that. At least 3 people, including 2 children, were killed by flash flooding in New Mexico. That area was stripped of trees by recent wildfires. The Rio Ruidoso rose nearly 19 feet in a matter of minutes, prompting at least 85 swiftwater rescues. NBC's Steve Patterson shows us the damage.
Yeah, the sun has now come up, giving us eyes on the devastation. Obviously, scenes like the one behind me are everywhere. This car into this home, but looking further down this neighborhood, this community devastated. This was simply too much rain, too fast, causing the devastating flooding that you're seeing. There should be homes in the foreground, but they are simply uprooted and gone. Neighbors taking video of homes, that same scene repeating, homes lifted up off of their roots and wiped away on these raging floodwaters. Part of the conditions were because of last year's devastating South Fork fire. That fire killed 2 people, burned hundreds of homes, but really sort of created these deep-seated burn scars, pathways for this floodwater to really rush down. And we know it's so far killed at least 3 people, 1 man in his 40s or 50s, a 7-year-old boy, a 4-year-old girl. We're going to learn a whole lot more as the day progresses. Back to you.
Steve Patterson reporting there. And be sure you download the new WRAL News app and turn on the notifications. We'll alert you to challenging and changing weather conditions, traffic issues all across our viewing area.
New crimes and punishments are now the law in North Carolina. This morning, Governor Josh Stein signed off on dozens of changes targeting everyone from drug users to reckless drivers and people who steal delivery packages. That wasn't all. WRAL state government reporter Will Doran was there. He joins us now to explain. Will, the governor was busy this morning.
He was, Renee. We now have some brand new crimes in the state, like for people who expose children to drugs, even accidentally. But that wasn't all. Stein also signed off on some sweeping pharmaceutical reforms that he said will help keep prescription drug costs down, especially in rural areas of the state. And he signed new changes that are aimed at helping military families, including soldiers with young kids who are trying to get enrolled in local schools.
And Will, even though Stein just approved these new laws, it didn't come with 100% of his support. He reported he had some concerns with what he just signed off on.
That's right, exactly. He said that all of these have some good parts and some bad parts. But the governor in North Carolina isn't allowed to veto only part of a bill. So I asked him today how he makes that decision to approve laws, even as he's saying that some parts of them will be bad. Here's what he had to say.
My view is I want to put it into law for the good, but I also want to highlight to the legislature where I think they made a bad policy decision in the hopes that they revisit them.
Okay, so let's dive into some of these details. What were the governor's concerns?
For example, with the bill helping military families, Stein said it's mostly good, but state lawmakers still left the door open for fraudsters to target them. That needs to get fixed. And then there were the dozens of new criminal law changes. One of them could lead to fines or even jail time for protesters or people who are going on strike. Stein said that that is too harsh and might even violate the First Amendment. But he said other changes, like those targeting drug dealers, child predators, and other criminals, made the bill good enough to outweigh the bad parts.
All right, Will, thank you for putting that into perspective. And for all the details on these sweeping new changes that just became North Carolina law this morning, go to WRAL.com at NC Capitol. Thanks, Will.
Tech companies are teaming up with 2 teachers' unions to train 400,000 teachers to use artificial intelligence. The $23 million initiative is backed by Microsoft, OpenAI, and the National American Federation of Teachers. The curriculum will be distributed online, and the announcement raises ethical and practical questions about how students use AI to assist with schoolwork and teachers, how they'll use AI to help with lesson planning or grading papers. The Trump administration is withholding $17 million from North Carolina's adult literacy and workforce programs. It's about a third of the program's funding. It is part of a national funding freeze. Federal officials are reviewing whether the programs are complying with administration priorities on immigration and other issues. The program served more than 60,000 North Carolina adults without high school degrees. Those include adults with disabilities and immigrants.
Improving yourself. We'll introduce you to the concept of biohacking, how you can use it to boost your overall well-being.
Keeping synthetic dyes. One of America's most iconic candy makers says it will not remove them from their candies. Why it's resisting the health secretary's demand to do so.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we were following reports of a power outage near downtown Raleigh. It's right here. It's actually we're near where we are right now, right off Avon Ferry Road and Western Boulevard. They're saying there are about more than 1,100 people that are without power right now. We do have a photographer on scene. She says that she did notice a power pole that had fallen into a tree. She doesn't know why that pole had fallen, though, so we are trying to get more information about this. But this was first reported just after 12 o'clock this afternoon, so this is fairly recent. Again, right now, 1,100 people in the area of Avon Ferry Road without power. As soon as we get more information about what's going on here, we will be sure to update you on air and online.
Michelle, thanks. There's no limit to the number of Hollywood beauty trends. The latest one making headlines is called biohacking. Examples include exercising, watching stress levels, and optimizing sleep. There are risks, though.
I think that any approach to improving one's health, appearance, performance should be done in moderation and with the guidance of a medical physician, a dietitian, a nutritionalist, or a professional designed to keep you on the right track.
Be sure to consult your healthcare provider before you start to make sure that you don't overdo it.
Starbucks is turning over a healthier leaf. The company plans to remove canola oil from its food lineup and replace it with avocado oil. Seed oils such as soybean and canola have also become a target for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The coffee chain is considering reformulating items like its egg white and roasted red pepper bites. However, no timeline has been provided. Several food companies have announced plans to remove synthetic dyes from their products, but one major candy maker is not cooperating with this. Mars, the owner of popular candies like M&M's and Skittles, appears to be pushing back on the health secretary's demand to eliminate synthetic dyes in foods and drink products. The company insists its products are safe to enjoy and meet the standards by food safety authorities.
Security shift. The government announces a significant change in the airplane boarding process. Also,
how about this unspeakable joy? More from the youth choir that brought a crowd to its feet. Some clouds, mostly sun in Sanford. Good afternoon to you. Going to be hot again, and the risk for storms does include that area later this evening. You're looking live there and watching WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. No need to remove your shoes for airport screenings anymore. For the first time in nearly 20 years, the TSA will allow airline passengers to keep their shoes on, effective immediately. NBC's Tom Costello explains why the government changed the policy.
It's a major security shift at TSA checkpoints nationwide. Effective immediately, all passengers can keep their shoes on. No need to screen them separately. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says 94% of passengers now have real IDs, improving identity confirmation. And TSA procedures and checkpoints have improved.
We've added new scanners, new technologies, more TSO officers in some areas.
The TSA began screening shoes for explosives in 2006 after shoe bomber Richard Reed attempted to blow up a flight from Paris to Miami in 2001. While pre-checked passengers have been able to leave their shoes on, removing shoes has been a top complaint among all passengers.
For women, it's like, ew, I don't want to touch the floor.
In December, we saw how detecting explosives is still a top priority at the TSA range in Huntsville. This is what's left, a piece of a shoe and the handle from a suitcase. The bottom line is this would have been catastrophic, and the TSA and the FBI continue to focus on mitigating the threat of potentially catastrophic explosives. Security experts believe the terror threat remains real, even as new technology provides better detection and shoes stay on.
and that was Tom Costello reporting. A group of singers has a real reason to have joy this afternoon. That is joy personified. The Birmingham Youth Choir performing Joy by Voices of Fire. Now, the group formed in 2015 as a way to give back to the community, and then it continued to grow after kids kept requesting to join them.
So honored that you would come here on our 20th anniversary, and in return, I want to give you something.
The golden buzzer moment. Simon Cowell gave the Birmingham Youth Choir from Birmingham, Alabama, such a gift. So the golden buzzer means they advance to the live shows next month.
Listen, we need a lot of joy from what we've had lately with a lot of the gloom and really the devastation and the trouble folks have found themselves in. Storm risks continue as well again.
Yeah, today, tomorrow, Friday, it seems to be pretty relentless. And what we're talking about right now, what we're most concerned about is the potential for flash flooding overnight tonight. Part of the area in a high risk for flooding, and that does include part of the triangle. It includes Chapel Hill, Orange County, the northern half of Durham County, Chatham County, Person County. So there is that risk for flash flooding because of all of the rain that happened on Sunday in that same location. We also have a level 2 severe risk for the western half of our viewing area. Right now, radar is fairly quiet, especially in our area. We do have some sea breeze storms that might impact our eastern counties, but the big thing that we'll be watching are these storms that are going to move over the mountains and into our area late tonight, mainly after sunset. High storm chances tonight. It's a 70% chance, and a lot of that will come starting around 10 o'clock until around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. A 60% chance Thursday and Friday, and still the chance for some storms Saturday and Sunday. We still have the flood watch for the counties that you see shaded in green here. These are the locations that had all of that rain on Sunday. So it's just not going to take a lot of rain to see flash flooding in those same locations. So in the area under the flood watch, in about 1 to 3 hours, all they would need is 1 to 2.5 inches of rain. And the problem here is that we don't have strong winds in the upper levels to really steer these storms. So there'll be slow moving storms that could dump a lot of rain in a short period of time. And the area shaded in bright green, 2.5 to 4 inches is what we would need to see in 1 to 3 hours to see some flooding in that area. And that's why we're not under a flood watch in Wake County and points to the east. Now, the severe risk today, if you're in the yellow shaded region, it's a level 2 risk. The thing that of most concern with the severe weather is the potential for some damaging winds to take down some trees. It's a lot easier for trees to fall in a ground that's completely saturated. And so trees could come down and we could have some power outages overnight tonight. Tomorrow, that risk is expanded to include all of the triangle and some of our eastern communities as well. The biggest threat with tomorrow's storms would be damaging winds, and we might see a flash flood watch issued for tomorrow as well. We're waiting for the National Weather Service to let us know if they plan to do that, but they might, because we could see some flash flooding tomorrow as well. The timeline today, 10 p.m. until around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. That's our highest rain chance. So this is happening overnight tonight. Make sure to have a way to get warnings. Tomorrow, the highest rain chance around 7 o'clock in the evening until 11 o'clock at night. It's about a 60% chance for storms. So these will be later in the day tomorrow as well, but not likely to be as much overnight tomorrow compared to what we expect tonight. Right now, it is very warm and muggy. 89 the current temperature in Raleigh, 90 in Clinton. The dew point 76 in Raleigh right now. It feels like 100. So it doesn't feel very good outside. It's going to get up to about 93. 89 tomorrow. We'll have another round of storms, severe storms possible, a weather alert day in place, and just keep the umbrella handy and know that storms will continue through the weekend and into next week as well.
And with the risk of flooding in the same areas that got hit hard by flooding on Sunday, we have coverage tonight with the largest team in the Triangle. You can count on WRAL to keep you ahead of the storms until the threats move out.
And back here in the Live Center with another update on those power outages that we reported about 5 minutes ago near the Avon Ferry Road area. We do have a photographer on the scene. She sent us this photo here. You can see fire officials there on scene. There is some tape up as well, blocking off a portion of Avon Ferry Road because of the power pole that had fallen into the tree. Firefighters there say this is going to be shut down for quite a while because they now need to replace 4 different power poles. That is what they are telling us there. So about 1,100 people without power in that area right now. Top stories are next. We'll be right back.
We wrap things up with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today. It's a WRAL weather alert day. More storms. A risk for flooding is in store tonight. There's a flood watch in effect until 2 a.m. for our western and northern counties, the same areas that got hit hard by flooding Sunday. We have coverage tonight with the largest team in the Triangle, and you can count on WRAL to have you covered on this storm until the threats move out.
A Raleigh police sergeant has resigned after being charged with threatening a man with disabilities at a restaurant. According to the arrest warrant, 37-year-old Wesley Lane approached the man's table, picked up a knife, and accused the man of threatening his daughter. This happened at the Western Sizzlin' Steakhouse in Dunn back on June 25th. Raleigh police confirmed Lane did work with the department since 2010. He resigned Monday, a few days after the charges were filed.
A second body has been recovered from Jordan Lake after 2 boaters disappeared. 2 men were last seen launching their canoe Sunday evening in Chatham County. The body of one of the boaters was located yesterday. Their names have not been released.
This next story sounds like something right out of Jurassic World. A tech company is working to bring back an ancient extinct bird. The moa once flew around New Zealand for 4,000 years. Colossal Biosciences, the same company known for bringing back dire wolves and woolly mice. Critics say if brought back to life, the moa may not be able to live in the environment that caused its extinction.
One of our pet of the day, I should say, is a playful, affectionate 2-year-old girl. Meet Simone Biles. Yeah, that's her name, Simone Biles. She's not a fan of being picked up or handled too much. She expresses her love in quieter ways, like staying close to her favorite people. Simone loves to explore new places and is eagerly waiting to find her forever home. She's spayed, microchipped, and fully up to date on her vaccinations. And you can fill out an application on the Cat Angels website if you would like to meet her.
Coming up tonight on WRAL News at 4, grace period. Driving around North Carolina with an expired driver's license is now okay, but what happens when you cross state lines? The drawbacks to a new law and what it means for the DMV's operating budget. That's coming up on our news at 4.
NBC News Daily, meantime, is up next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
Get breaking news and weather updates anytime with our WRAL News app and the WRAL Weather app.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.